Okay, I guess we'll start with my oldest, Caleb. He's 4 years old right now. When he was born, he was pretty much full term. He was 5 days early, but he was born at almost 3 o'clock in the morning. So immediately after he was born, they kind of took him away. I never got to hold him right away because he was having, his heart rate was dropping a lot when he was being born, so they had to use other measures to get him out quick. So they took him right away just so that they could make sure he was okay. And a few minutes later, he came to me and we tried to do the breastfeeding right away. He wanted absolutely no part of it. We had a nurse there helping us. They said a lactation consultant would be in the next day. However, the lactation consultants were on vacation. It was August, so a lot of people take vacation in August. So I think it was probably a day or day and a half. We were in the hospital just a tad bit longer because Caleb had jaundice, so they wanted to keep us a little bit longer. So it was probably a day and a half. Then somebody came in. I mean, the nurses were really great because they're really knowledgeable about this stuff too. However, we tried different positions. They had me waking up every 2 hours in the middle of the night just to keep trying, but he was jaundiced, so we had to give him formula pretty much right away so that that situation could be rectified. So I kept trying. I pumped. I kept trying at home. He just fought it. He's got a little bit of that personality in him anyway. He still does. He's definitely, an independent kind of kid. But I pumped for probably a month, maybe a month and a half. But if you have a kid that's waking up every 2 hours, by the time you finish pumping, you give him the bottle, you clean everything you need to clean. I was getting an hour in between.
And how old was he at this point?
This was immediately after he was born. So I did the pumping thing till he was probably 6 weeks old or so. And then I just couldn't handle it anymore. And he was already being supplemented with formula anyway because of the jaundice. I remember as far as bottles go, I bought every bottle under the sun because he wouldn't take anything except for those nipples that they had at the hospital. So you know how you get the Enfamil and they're real little and they put on those they're latex almost, I think, nipples. He would only use those. I had to find them online. He was very, very picky. Eventually, I got him to go to the Avent bottles. That seemed to be what, I went through all of them, Dr. Brown's, Avent. I probably have 5 or 6, 7 different kind of bottles at home that I tried with him. So that was Caleb. He was on the bottle, not all day long. He used sippy cups as soon as he could really pick up and use a sippy cup.
About what age was that?
Probably 6 months or so. And then he was off the bottle completely the day after his first birthday. And then we didn't use any kind of sippy cups except for these type of straw cups. And still to this day, if we need a cup that doesn't spill, I still use these. However, I cut the straw so it's just a little bit, so he just uses his lips to suck the milk out and not like that,
Maybe this is a good time for you to share what your profession is.
Well, I'm a speech language pathologist.
So cutting that straw down, and talk a little bit more about that.
Well, I just didn't want him to get into that tongue thrust position, pushing up against the front of his teeth, that cupping of his tongue. And so when I cut the straw, he's just really using his lips to drink the milk, and it's just more beneficial all around. I should say that neither one of my kids either had a pacifier. There were times that I tried to use them just to soothe them. However, they never really took to that either. So, I tried to avoid all of that kind of stuff and get rid of the bottles as soon as I could. Now, as for Breleigh, she did really well right after she was born. They took her away completely right away, too, because she swallowed meconium. So I never got to hold either one of my babies right away. But they took care of her and they brought her right back to me, and she latched on right away and she did very well. However, it wasn't even 5 minutes later, I started hemorrhaging severely. And I would say probably for the first 2 days or so of her life, I don't remember a whole lot. They had to take me in for surgery and things like that, so I didn't get to hold her. I had a lot of tubes everywhere. The minute that I did wake up from everything, I asked for a pump right away. I couldn't hold her just because I was weak and I had, like I said, tubes everywhere. So I tried pumping. I pumped for 7 days and nothing happened. And they said because of the trauma that I went through with her, I had to have 4 units of blood afterwards, that sometimes your body just shuts down. And so she didn't have any breast milk at all. She went right to formula. However, she was the one that was doing really well, so she probably would have for a long time if my body could have handled it. And she was probably 13 months when I got rid of the bottle completely with her. She used Dr. Brown's.